Republican Party Chairman Jim Walsh here for our regular Chairman's Update. This week, I want to change our topics a little bit. We've been talking a lot about bills and budgets and taxes and policy and DC and Trump and tariffs. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about money, but talk about money as it applies to the state party, to the national party, and through the party's two candidates and campaigns and projects here in Washington and all over the place. Uh, just this week, earlier this week, the state Republican Party here in Washington received a very generous contribution from a longtime supporter and a fellow who had been a PCO, but involved in the state Republican Party. His name was Peter Boonstra. He was out of Western Washington, had worked for Boeing for a while, had some investments for a while, did well, and was able to leave us in his estate a substantial amount of money. And we appreciate receiving this contribution and will use it effectively. Uh, this is a thing that happens. These big contributions happen occasionally. Sometimes they are really motivated by a particular issue. Someone gets very involved in a tax issue or a family policy issue, a parents' rights issue, sometimes something like a gun issue or a free speech issue. And a wealthy person will be motivated to get involved and get active. The interesting thing about Boonstra's contribution is it wasn't really specific to anything. It was just a general contribution to the WAGOP to keep doing our good work, which is great. It's very edifying and encouraging, and it should be for everyone. Um, but it does raise the question of what do state parties and what does the national party do with money? How much money are they sitting on? What do they do? And the answer is the party structure, whether it's the Republican National Committee at the national level or the WAGOP here at the state level, we're sort of like startup organizations all the time. Neither the national party nor the state party, sits on billions of dollars just waiting to see what to do. Every few years, the parties have to kind of reinvent themselves. And to some degree, they start from ground zero, both in terms of fundraising and in terms of staff and people, and often in terms of kind of philosophy or strategy of how they want to engage in the process, how they want to help get conservative people, Republican people elected to public office. So a party is always kind of a new organization, a startup, if you will. And what I can tell you is, with the fundraising that the WAGOP has been doing all along, as well as big contributions like this recent one, the WAGOP is a year-round, 365, 24/7 organization. We are not going to be a party that sort of staffs up and monies up right around elections, and then after the election staffs down and money's down. We're going to be an organization that is building campaign and political infrastructure all year long, whether we're in an election season or we're not. And that's tough. That's not what every political party does. Many of them are kind of seasonal, but we're not. Our goal is to keep our staff engaged and building organizational campaign infrastructure. That means helping county parties recruit precinct committee officers, PCOs. That means helping organizing and training volunteers for the doorbelling, for the ballot harvesting, that are big parts of our strategy to win more elections here in Washington State. All the things that a political party does around election season, we're going to do year round here. And that's what this recent large contribution help us do, and it's very encouraging. Now we still have to fundraise, and truly a lot of fundraising in political parties happens during the election cycle around the primary season and leading into the general elections in November. Um, but we are increasing our year-round fundraising. A lot of it, and some of it you may have seen, you may have received envelopes or emails, is not looking at the high net worth individuals' major contributions. It's grassroots fundraising. And that is really the strength of any political organization, in my opinion, is how much can you raise funds, raise money in small increments, $50, $100, maybe even $20, from a lot of people. But you can't do either one alone. If you're going to run a successful political party, you need to do both. You need to be doing the grassroots, regular people, small dollar fundraising, and you need to be doing the high net worth organization or individual larger contributions, what they call major donor contributions. And so at the WAGOP, we are doing both. In the earlier part of this calendar year, we were relying very heavily on our grassroots fundraising. But now, as we get into the summer, and yes, as we get a little closer to the election season, we will see more of those major donor supports coming in. And again, oftentimes the major donor contributions are really intended for a specific issue or a specific purpose. Now, under campaign finance law, the state party doesn't earmark contributions. So we don't accept contributions with an explicit requirement that we use it for this campaign or that project. It has to be a matter of trust that if the donor or contributor, whether it's a small dollar contribution or a large one, has to trust that the state party will use their support, their money, in the right way, in a way that contributor wants us to use it. But there are no earmarks, there are no formal agreements that money will be spent in a certain way. Campaign finance laws require that there not be. And so it does require a level of trust, which again, in this recent very large contribution, part of what was so encouraging about it was it showed a great deal of trust from this wealthy individual that what we're doing here at the WAGOP is the right thing. A little more aggressive than the party's been in the past, a little more out front, talking about taxes, talking about crime, talking about failing schools, and not pulling any punches, being direct and strong in what we believe in and what we think needs to be fixed when we fix Washington. I'll end up this talk about money to say that we are determined to take advantage of what I believe is an inflection point in our state's history. I believe we are at a place where things are changing, where a lot of middle ground voters are tired of the inefficiency and waste and frankly fraud that one party rule has brought, particularly to Olympia over the last several decades. And we will use the resources that we gather here at WAGOP, whether from small dollar grassroots contributors or major donors, to maximize this turn, maximize this inflection point, maximize this change. Sometimes that will mean getting involved directly in certain campaigns and races. Other times it means taking on some of the broader public policy projects that I've mentioned in earlier updates. Things like how to reform our K-12 education system here. Things like how to restore election integrity here. So it'll be a mix of things. We'll use money to help with specific campaigns, and we will use money to talk broadly about public policy points. And we will combine those grassroots small dollar contributions with the major contributions from individuals or organizations. But let me end it all by saying this. Peter Boonstra, the man who made this recent large contribution to the WAGOP, it never was traditionally a very large donor. He was a grassroots donor. His contributions were small and regular, repeated, but they weren't the kind that draw big accolades or attention. But he was saving his powder, keeping it dry, keeping his money in order. And when the time came, he made a large contribution that will keep WAGOP on strong financial footing this year and next. So thank you, Peter Lindstrom, and thank all of you, whether your contribution is a few dollars or a few $100 or a few $1,000 or a few $100,000. We are indebted to all of you. You are what drives this party. You are what makes it able to do the good work it does. That's it for this week. Until next time, be well and stay strong.